John the Baptist said, he will baptize you in the Holy Spirit and fire. And I couldn't say that I had experienced that. And I said, Lord, if somebody were to ask me, have you been baptized in the Holy Spirit and fire? John the Baptist said in Matthew 3:11, Jesus will baptize you, immerse you in the Holy Spirit and fire. John the Baptist told people, I can immerse you in water, Matthew 3:11, but I can't immerse you in fire. You got to go to Jesus. I can immerse you in water, and people come to me and say, Brother Zach, please lay your hands on me. I said, putting my empty hands on your head will give you nothing. I can immerse you in water. Go to Jesus. He can immerse you in fire. So I decided, I said, Lord, I got to seek you for this baptism on fire. And I'm not against the Pentecostals. I think there's some very godly people in many Pentecostal churches, and I have some very good friends there, and there are many godly people there. But the particular church I went to, it was just a lot of noise. And I came away disappointed, and I said, Lord, I don't need that. And I came home and I said, Lord, can't you do it for me here in my room? Can't you fill me with the Holy Spirit? And I searched the scriptures, and I searched, and I said, Lord, what do I have to do? And I opened my life, and I said, Lord, you can have every area of my life. And the Lord pointed me to Jesus' baptism. And this is what the Father showed me, that when Jesus went to the waters of baptism, that's when he was anointed. He submitted to John the Baptist, putting him in the water. He didn't resist it. He submitted, and he was raised up, and the Spirit came upon him. And from that, God gave me a message. When Jesus was doing that, he was submitting to the way of death and burial. But that's what baptism symbolizes. He was saying, I am willing to let other people kill me, bury me. My Father will raise me up. That is the testimony in baptism. That's why it's so important. And that was a testimony of how he was going to live for the rest of his life, and how he had already lived for 30 years. I'm willing to let other people push me down, kill me spiritually, and bury me. My Father will raise me up. I have absolute faith in that. And the Lord spoke to me saying there's a close connection between the way of the cross and the real power of the Holy Spirit. And this is what God spoke to me. I was a very young Christian, 23 years old. And this is what God spoke to me. If you will choose the way of the cross all your life, you will have my power resting upon you. Always. But the day you decide to move away from that way, thinking you're graduated from it or something else, in that day my power will depart from you. This is the word the Lord spoke to me. I got it from Jesus' baptism, and I found the answer. And then as I looked around at so many people who claimed to be baptized in the Holy Spirit, and I didn't see the fire of God either in a life of holiness in their life or even in their ministry. There was no holiness in their life. There was no power in their ministry. And I saw that what was missing was the Holy Spirit's power was not linked up with the way of the cross. They had not chosen the way of the cross. And so they came to a stagnation. Maybe they were genuinely filled. I don't question that. But what the Lord began to show me from then was the fullness of the Spirit is not a once-for-all experience. It's very important, my dear brothers and sisters, that every one of you seek to be filled with the Holy Spirit. You must be filled with the Holy Spirit. This is not an optional extra. This is not a symbol like baptism or the Lord's table or veiling the head. Fullness of the Holy Spirit is something essential. If you don't have it, you've missed something in your life. And if you're going to live all through your life on earth without being baptized in the Holy Spirit and fire, I want to tell you, you missed something. And I did not want to miss that. Even though I was in an assembly which didn't teach that, which was anti-Pentecostal. So I found the truth of the baptism of the Holy Spirit, not from the church I was attending, which is a Brethren assembly, but from the scriptures. I saw Jesus was baptized, and Jesus was anointed. I say, I'm baptized, and I want to be anointed. I'm not better than Jesus. If Jesus had lived a holy life for 30 years, and he still needed to be anointed with the Holy Spirit, where am I? What arrogance to think that I don't need what Jesus needed, even though he had lived a holy life for 30 years. No, I said, I need it. And I saw that because the baptism in the Holy Spirit, as it taught today, has been delinked from the way of the cross, that's why the power is missing. And what the Lord began to show me is that when I'm baptized, when I'm born again, the capacity in my heart is like a little cup. You know, the psalmist says, I will lift up the cup of salvation. I think Psalm 118. So when God fills me, it's a cup or a glass. It's full. You can't fill it more than that. It's full. But if I walk the way of the cross from that day onwards, consistently, this cup will become like a bucket. My capacity will increase. Now, if I pour this water in the cup into a bucket, there's hardly any water in it. It needs to be filled again. I need to be filled with the Holy Spirit again. You read about Peter being filled with the Holy Spirit at least 3 times in the Acts of the Apostles, not just on the day of Pentecost. At least 3 distinct occasions where he was filled with the Holy Spirit. So I learned that the Holy Spirit filling is not a once-for-all thing. As your capacity increases, and your capacity will never increase if you don't walk the way of the cross. Your fullness of the Spirit, yeah, you'll be filled, but it'll be a cup all your life. But if you walk with the Lord in the way of the cross, that is the way of self-denial, as I showed you, the way of the rent veil, where you say no to your own will, where self is dethroned and Christ is Lord, where you, through the Spirit, put to death the deeds of the body every day, like it says in Romans 8:13. The cup will become a bucket, and then I say, Lord, I need to be filled again. And I continue to walk the way of the cross, the bucket will become a tub. You pour a bucket of water into a tub, there's hardly anything there. You need to be filled again. And you walk the way of the cross, the tub will become a lake. Can you imagine that? And that's filled again. And you walk the way of the cross, the lake will become a river. Wow. And that gets filled again. And you continue to walk the way of the cross, and it becomes many rivers. Then is fulfilled that verse in John 7:37. He who believes in me, out of his innermost being will flow rivers of living water. That's the place Paul came to towards the end of his life, filled with the Holy Spirit. The Apostle Paul was filled with the Spirit first when Ananias came to him in Acts chapter 9. It was like a cup filled. But because he consistently walked the way of the cross, it was rivers by the time he came to the end of his life. Now I want to say to you, brothers and sisters, if some of you have had a genuine experience of being filled with the Holy Spirit, baptized in the Holy Spirit, you're satisfied with that. That's why your life is in stagnation. And if you're honest, if you're absolutely honest, many of you will have to say to me, I'm a bit frustrated with my Christian experience. Many Christians, if they were asked honestly, tell me the honest truth, they'll say, it's true, brother. I'm a bit frustrated with my Christian experience. It's not all that it should be. I stand before God and I'll tell you the truth. I am not frustrated with my Christian experience. To me, I believe in what it says in the Living Bible paraphrase of Proverbs 14:14. The godly man's life is exciting. It really is exciting. And I'm not frustrated at all. I'm excited every day of my life. By the grace of God, I'm never in a bad mood. Never means never. 24 hours a day. Not because I don't have pressures. I have pressures from so many churches and other things and aches and pains in my body. That's fine. It's okay. But I'm not frustrated. Because God continuously fills me with the Spirit. And I really long that every one of you, my brothers and sisters, whoever you are, whether you're part of this church or some other church, be open to the Lord in this area. Jesus was filled with the Spirit all the time.